Hi there, I'm Ali from Dragon Fitness Coaching and Healing, and I'm a naturopathic practitioner. So today I'm going to talk about dogs. No, I'm not a vet, and I'm not a dog kind of health expert, but I do have dogs of my own, and sometimes you might hear them barking in the background while I'm making these videos, which is quite cute. I used to have 5 dogs. Unfortunately, now I only have 4. But I've been a dog mum for 9.5 years as an adult, and I had dogs when I was a child as well. But I've learned a lot about dogs and how to help dogs naturally this time around as a dog mum. And I think that dogs are certainly part of the family. They always are. And cats are as well. I don't have any cats at the moment. I used to have a cat. And a lot of what I'm saying today will apply to cat owners as well. So do kind of keep listening, if you are a cat owner. So I'm taking this from the perspective of me being a naturopath, and also that dogs are mammals just as we are. So we have a lot of similarities. Of course, we are different. We're different animals, but there are a lot of similarities between us. Okay, so this is what I recommend. So first of all, a diet. Dogs are frequently fed kibble, or the dog food pedigree chum used to be when I was a kid, out of a can. So this type of food is processed. God knows what the hell's in it half the time. It's a bit like us eating breakfast cereal every single day for the rest of our lives. It's got things added into it to apparently give them nutrition, but really it's not so great. Also, I believe there are euthanized animals as part of the kibble or the meat. So not only are they eating species they probably shouldn't be eating, but they're taking on the chemicals that were used to euthanize those particular animals. So just as with humans, I recommend that a whole food diet is fed to them. I believe that a raw meat diet is best for them, because when they were wolves, that's what they would eat, really. So I do add some vegetables, and I don't feed my dogs too much fruit, because they're not really that keen. But some dogs love fruit, so and that's okay too. So I feed my dogs as many different types of protein as I can. I mix up organic and non-organic. Of course, organic is more expensive, and with 4 dogs, it gets a little bit expensive. But if you've only got 1 dog, I recommend that you feed organic if you possibly can afford, because there's no chemicals in their meat, or antibiotics or hormones or anything like that. And just as with humans, if we eat meat, it's best to eat organic meat. So yeah, I feed as many different types of protein as I can, because they all bring different nutrients to the table. And a raw meat diet should always include raw bones. So these have to be fairly soft bones. So I feed like fish bones and chicken bones, and something called soft bone pork. But I wouldn't really feed, thigh, beef thigh bones or whatever, because they're just too thick and hard for them. And always make sure that the bone is uncooked, because if the bone is cooked, then it can splinter, and can get stuck in the trachea. So that's really not good. You need to feed about 10-15% of their meals as bone, and also you need to feed about 10% of organ meat, so like liver and kidney and things like that. So you can go wild in the aisles with the weird and wonderful kind of stuff that you possibly wouldn't eat. And you need to feed a percentage of their healthy body weight. So if you've got a 30 kilo dog and he's quite healthy, he's a good weight at the moment, then I would say about 2.5% of that 30 kilos per day, and feed it once a day or twice a day, depending on how often that you feed your dogs. I feed my dogs once a day now. I used to feed them twice a day, but I think that fasting is good for them, and also sometimes they wouldn't really eat much of the first meal, so it saves us time as well, as you can imagine, with four dogs. If you have dogs and they can't eat raw, for example, some dogs have lost their teeth, you know, they can't kind of chomp through the bones, then a cooked meat diet is better than definitely a processed food diet. Just leave out any cooked bones there. And there's lots of information on the internet and Facebook groups, etc., about raw feeding. So do just check those out. The next thing that I want to say is that vaccinate your dogs as least as humanly possible. I do understand that it depends what country you're in and where you want to take your dog, and you know whether you need to board your dog or things like that. But don't over vaccinate. If you can get away with not vaccinating, then don't, because just like in humans, it's totally unnecessary. And a lot of vaccine and drug use can be linked to cancers in later life. And also give them drugs and antibiotics as least as possible, unless you really need to save their life. There usually is another way. I remember when my old dog Cujo, he had an infection in his paw, and it came up and it was quite swollen. And so I took him to the vet, and they wanted to put him on antibiotics, and I said no, because his digestive system is quite delicate, and it's taken a long while for us to get it right at that point. So I said that I didn't want to use that, and they said no problem, you just need to rinse it out, flush it out with an iodine solution every day. And I said no problem, I can do that, no worries. So it might take you a little bit more work, but essentially you don't have to give them drugs and antibiotics for everything that happens. And also wait a little bit. Dogs are pretty resilient. One of our dogs, he was looking a bit poorly the other day, and he was just lying down a lot and sleeping a little bit more. But he was still eating, so I knew he wasn't that bad. And gave him a couple of days, and he was back to his normal self. So just like, you know, humans, don't rush off at the first kind of sign that something is wrong. They might just be, you know, detoxing something in their body. You know, they just need time to kind of work it out. Obviously, trust your intuition. You know your dog better than I do. So if you feel that something is really wrong, then do take the animal to the vet. But what I'm saying is use drugs and antibiotics sparingly. They should really only be used you know, when there is no other solution, and the dog is unlikely to get better on his own. And I think that is really kind of the three kind of key things, and it's something that people don't really do, and it's not something that your vet is going to tell you, or your rescue organisation is going to tell you, or even your breeder perhaps. But what I would say as well is adopt a dog whenever you can. There are very many dogs that need homes. Look at adopting older dogs as well. You know what you're going to get with a puppy. The puppy's personality may change over time, or is likely to change over time. So quite often you don't know what sort of dog you're going to have until he or she is over like 2 years of age. And for the size as well, if you get an older dog, you know that they're not going to grow anymore, and they're going to be super grateful for being homed. give them love, give them lots of exercise and a stable home environment, and spend as much time with them as possible, and they'll love you to pieces. And yeah, and just enjoy every day that you have with your dog, because they don't live very long, unfortunately. They don't live as long as we would like them to. So just appreciate each day that you have with them. Give them as much love as possible, and use natural remedies as much as you possibly can, and even use natural remedies such as chlorine dioxide and DMSO, which can be used on animals as well as humans. And these are a great alternative to drugs and antibiotics. So I hope that helps. Do drop me a line at ali@dragonfitnessandcoaching.com, and like, share and subscribe. Thanks very much.